My next guest makes his CombatFC debut on February 9th when he faces Chris Disonell. He's a former Army Ranger. He is Carlos Lozoya. How's it going today, Carlos?
How you doing, my man?
I can't complain. We have not gotten snow yet. I can't really complain about snow. Your snow will be a lot worse than Pennsylvania snow.
Not bad right now, honestly. It's only like snowed one day so far here in Massachusetts in like the last 2 years. So it's been nice. Honestly, it's been really nice.
Let's keep it that way. Let's just not say the S word anymore. So you make your CombatFC debut next month. You go to head with the guy who just fought for the title after coming off of probably two of the best Fury FC flyweights. But you're also moving back up the bantamweight. What about this fight grabbed your attention?
I was still looking for another flyweight fight, but Chris was he was just the first guy to say yes, and I liked that fight. I thought it made sense. My manager thought it made sense. My coaches thought it made sense. And most of my fights are at bantamweight anyways, so I feel comfortable at the weight. So it's like, to me, like it's no new territory. It's just a fight that made sense,
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, let's just talk real fast about bantamweights too. Current UFC bantamweight champion. Your very first fight. I went back and watched that one last night because I've seen comments about it. For a guy who made fun of a certain person for acting, that was the Oscar-winning performance I've seen last night at an amateur level. But how did you get involved there? Because I know that was like your first fight. Like I think you even said, and now it's probably past the legal issue potential, that you never even had a fight at that point. And you guys lied about it to get you the fight. How did that one come across?
I'm not gonna mention the promotion because I fuck with them, but no, like I just got done wrestling, and one of my buddies, he fought as a professional, Joaquin Calderon. And, Joaquin's a very gritty guy, kind of like myself, immigrant from Colombia. Not that I'm Colombian, but he was an immigrant. I just got done wrestling. I was like, he asked me one day, he was like, hey, do you want to fight? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I wanted to keep competing, he was like, okay, it's for a title. I was like, all right. I was like, I never fought before. He was like, I'm just going to tell the promoter you're 3-0. And then I was like, all right, so we'll fight for a title. I knew nothing about the guy. I mean, like, I didn't know who I was fighting. And, that's pretty much it. That's the story. I remember driving up through Montana. Like, we had like a group of people. Like, I was in the trunk, and it was like this blizzard, like going through the pass. And like, so the pass is like a mountain, and it's not like hills over like how it is on the East Coast. It's like a mountain. It's like you're going steep, and it was like a slushy road. And I remember like my buddy had like not like a tarp, but he had like a lid to his truck to like seal you in. And I was like freezing in the truck. I was like in a sleeping bag, and I could feel his truck just swerving while we're going up the pass. But it was a fun trip, man. It was good. It was a good memory. And, it just so happened to be like, he rose to fame, and obviously I think he's changed like his mentality, and he's proved that, fight after fight. But, I think the MMA community is just kind of a small world, and, you just get lucky on who you fight sometimes.
Awesome. And then, yeah, because like I said, even coming into this one, you're coming off with probably two of Fury FC's toughest flyweights. You've been on everyone's prospect list for years, basically, at this point as well. And now you face another one who has been on a lot of lists, Chris Disonell. For this camp, I kind of talked about off camera already, but you're training at Mom's Basement MMA who just got like one of their first UFC signings as well, as well as the New England Cartel, who you can throw a dart and there's a UFC fighter you're hitting there. Who have you been training with mainly for this camp?
Yeah, I think like Connor mostly. I mean, there's a lot of names, man. This amateur named Fred, man, he's gonna be really, really good. Tom Pellegrino, Nick Fiore, they've been pushing me. Chris Montino every once in a while. Like I haven't really been training with one specific person, all the time. Except for Connor. So like Connor's definitely like throughout the years since I've moved to Massachusetts, even when I lived in Washington State, he was one of my main training partners. So, I just we just been hammering it out at the cartel though, and you know, I'm blessed that like, you know, Connor's in the UFC now, uh, and he's like introduced me to the cartel as well. And you know, there's great training everywhere here in Massachusetts, but I feel like there's just I get like a very strong push and like a good sense of community there at the cartel. I mean, Tyson's a really great coach and great leader, you know. So just mostly those guys up in the cartel, they've been helping me a lot.
Awesome. And then, speaking of that too, like, you are now in Massachusetts. You were born in Las Vegas, like the fight capital of the world. You just mentioned you also lived in Washington State. What brought you to all these different states? Like, was it the army or was it just you moving yourself?
So at first, I moved to North Idaho so I could go wrestle for college, and then I just like I wasn't a student, so like I did horrible in school, and then after school and after wrestling, I just went. I was like, I need to do something, and I went to the military, and then I moved around a lot because of the military, and then I got stationed in Washington with Second Ranger Battalion, and and Connor was at a unit at JBLM in Washington, and then we trained at the same gym. So that's how I met him. But yeah, I just moved a lot because of the military.
It's awesome. And back to the fight too. You're both you and Chris are coming off two fight losing streaks right now. Both looking to snap it, which means both hungry. Probably
Yeah.
the dangerous way you could kind of put two people together. If you could write the script of how the fight goes, how are you writing it?
You know, I want a hard fight. You know, I think it sounds funny. Like everyone wants to like push their opponent and stuff, but I want a hard fight. I want a gritty fight, and I really want to earn it. You know, that's what I want. Is like I want to push myself. I want to feel my lungs push. I want to feel like I'm gonna break myself, and my goal is just like to break him, you know. But you know, even if I'm breaking him, I'm gonna be pushing myself to the max, and I think that's my goal. That's how I wanted to go. I just want to keep it gritty, and just be myself. You know, like I have the drill reps, I have the instincts, and I just gotta put the belief in it, and that's it. I just want to be who I am, and that's like this gritty motherfucker that even in the military I was like that gritty dude, and like that's how I was a ranger. And you know, I think I lose myself sometimes when I'm not that person, and that's what I want. I just want a hard fight.
Also, keyword you kind of said there too was goals. What are your goals currently? Because I mean, usually when you hit the Fight Pass prospect list, I feel it's a tip off that that's who Mick and Sean have been looking at.
Yeah.
What are your current goals like in MMA? Like, do you see this taking you to like a contender series, a short notice fight? Where do you see this fight possibly taking you?
You know, I don't know. Like my goal's to make it to the UFC. That's been my goal for like my whole life. Um, that's my goal is just make it in the UFC and be just be me, you know. And I just like I want to be like yeah, I want to be in the UFC, but I want to be successful. And you know, I think these hard fights I've taken in my career is like it's gonna help me a lot. You know, that experience. I think that's something a lot of people shy away from. It's like that tough competition. And you know, it's like one thing I learned in like wrestling and throughout life is that like when you avoid that, like it finds you one way or another. And like I'm glad for like the losses I've had, the hard competition I've had because I felt it, and I feel like some of that like it resonates on you like a little bit, you know. Like I like now I'm gonna have a little piece of like Luis Gurriel in me for the rest of my life, you know, like and like Cleveland McLean, you know, like those guys who beat up on me, you know. And likewise when like someone fights me, they're gonna have like they're gonna have like a little piece of me in them. And I mean my goal is just to be in the UFC and compete. You know, like I want to be a competitor. I've been a competitor my whole life, and you know that's my goal, man. Like do I have a timeline on it? Like hopefully this year. Like I think this year I'm gonna go pretty ham in like my fight career because I kind of took a long break, and I'm like I'm 28 now, so like I like it's like to me it feels like now or never, you know. So like I'm really investing a lot of my energy, a lot of my time, a lot of my spirit like into this year and into these fights. And I think is like, as long as I work as hard as I possibly can, I break myself every single day, I'm gonna get what I deserve. And that's always been my key to success. That was my key to success in wrestling. That was my key to success in jiu-jitsu. That was my key to success in the military. It's just work harder than everybody else, and that I think that's what I'm like really falling in love with again. Is like not being scared of that work. And I think that's something I got away with, like started feeling up on myself. I was on a 6-fight win streak against some great guys, really good competition, and I was like starting to believe in my own bullshit. And now it's like, and when you start believing in your own bullshit is when you stop you stop working as hard. And so like I'm like back. I'm hungry again. I'm hungry for that. Like I don't give a fuck about winning. I'm just hungry to be like a competitor. I feel like I didn't earn my fights. My last 3 actually, I wasn't really like training like how I should have been. Especially for that Luis Gurriel fight. Like I was barely even going to the gym. I was essentially coaching myself on that fight, and that's why I didn't have a corner. But that's a lot of bullshit, because like, I missed out. Like I was in a weird gym situation. That's not a bullshit on my gyms, but it's a lot of bullshit on myself. But yeah, it's like this year is like I'm really gonna. It's like I have a lot of focus. I'm putting a lot of energy into it.
Yeah, and then another thing too. So a lot of fighters fight because they don't have any other options. You have the military background.
Yeah.
You're in school still,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to school for like shits and giggles. You're going for like smart shit.
Yeah.
What fuels you to be a fighter, and versus like banking on the degree or anything else?
I mean, like, I think, like school, it pushes me mentally also. And I think that's like something, people forget is like you can push yourself in a lot of different ways. But like the school doesn't make me happy, like, I know like a 9 to 5 job like that, it's not going to make me happy. Like I do school because like I'm a veteran and I get paid to go to school, and it's like it works out with my schedule a lot. But like if I go to school, I want to go to school to like build a skill and push myself. Like nothing makes me happy other than fighting, man. Like there's nothing like pushing myself. I like pushing, like, sometimes as nervous as I get going into a training practice, because I'm like, fuck, like I'm gonna break myself today. As nervous as I get that feeling sometimes, like I just love going through that. And there's nothing like it. Nothing zens me out like that push. And nothing else makes me happy, man. I think that's why I love fighting so much. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, is, they like that feeling of being pushed, to a degree, and rolling and having like like a community, in a gym. Everyone loves that. And I'm sure that's why you do this, because you meet guys like me who are like so passionate about this sport, and they're passionate because they have a community of guys that love the same thing. And that's why I need to do this.
It makes a lot more sense because looking at, I had the benefit of, you just had a interview drop about this morning, so I got to kind of preview your brain a little bit coming into this one too, and
Yeah.
that stuck out to me. I was like, you're not going to like an art school to like draw stick figures. You're, like I said, doing smart shit, and but it makes sense. If this fuels your passion, that degree can always be a backup. Let's look at it that way. Worst case scenario, that's going to pay the bills if needed. And but February 9th, you're not going far. You're not flying to Texas this time, or Montana, or Idaho, or any other state that no one tends to want to go to. And you are with CombatFC, so you are back. You're back on Fight Pass. You're going to be right again on the eyes of the UFC. I think, especially on the February 9th, I think every promotion is pretty much doing a show. And that's when I think a lot of those Contender Series fights get picked because they have a big event the next day, not that day. Going into this fight though, like, do you plan on staying with CombatFC, or is it play by ear, see where this one goes, see if anyone else comes out and all? Not to downgrade or downplay the promotion.
Yeah, I think I don't think CombatFC has enough like events a year, but I'll definitely, if they offer me a fight, I'm definitely riding with them. But I'm probably gonna jump around promotions here in Massachusetts, but hopefully I can build a good hopefully CombatFC likes me, and hopefully I can build a good relationship so they can invite me to the next one. But I'm not sure how many promotions they have a year, but I think it's like maybe 3. I think I want to fight a lot this year. I think I need it. I think my career needs it, and I think like my experience, I need it for my experience too. So I'm probably gonna be jumping around a few promotions this year.
That makes sense. You're at the right age. 28's good to kind of go up and down, even if it's just the East Coast. You have what is it? Combat Zone, Titan, or Cage Titans, just up in your area alone. You come down a little more, and you fall into the CFFC, bring a combat crew, and then you keep working down. Like, the East Coast is probably the place to be when it comes to regional MMA. Not to downgrade Texas with their 2 decent promotions. But outside of that, I'm gonna pass the mic to you. I'm sure you have sponsors and management and training partners, friends, family, and all the fun stuff feel free to give them a shout out, pass your social media, whatever you feel needs to be said. Mike's all yours.
You can follow me on Carlos Lozoya MMA. I just want to thank all my training partners. I want to thank Tyson because he's really opened the door for me to have like good training again. And like just anyone who's connected to me, in one way or shape or form. It's like whether they open their gym to me before, or like I really appreciate everybody, because it's like if it's, I feel like I'm part of a community now, and yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome. So February 9th, CombatFC, UFC Fight Pass. I want to say, I'm assuming you're probably not on prelims. You're a little more too veteran to be on prelims, and if so, I'll bitch about it for you. So if for some reason you are on the prelims, that's YouTube, but I have a feeling you'll be UFC Fight Pass. I'll link below all your socials and all at the bottom. And then, best of skill come the 9th.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.